When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Even before Jeff Flake and his boyfriend, Chris Coons, engineered the week delay on the Kavanaugh confirmation vote, you had former Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner already surrendering to the left.
Yeah, that's right. He said that he believes Christine Ford.
No, not exactly. He said she's credible,
Right.
but the real issue is he said that the Kavanaugh vote should be delayed. He said that on NPR on Friday morning before it ultimately was delayed by Jeff Flake. So why wouldn't the left in this state run roughshod over Republicans? Why wouldn't leftist politicians adopt the philosophy of Maxine Waters in Illinois? I mean, the
Rauner's still vying for those Democratic votes.
The Illinois GOP makes Jeff Flake look like King Leonidas. And so this story is interesting.
Oh, boy.
The socialist preferred candidate in the Democrat gubernatorial primary back March, Daniel Biss, state senator from the North Shore, civilized, Tony, enlightened, reflective, accomplished North Shore. You know, because they select a socialist like Dan Biss to represent them. He had an encounter with our friend Ted Dabrowski from WirePoints.com at a Panera Bread. I assume it's in Wilmette or somewhere on the North Shore, but a local Panera Bread.
Off of Green Bay Road, perhaps.
Daniel Biss, state senator, this little Poindexter, accosting Ted Dabrowski. We've had Ted Dabrowski on the show before.
Yeah, many times.
You couldn't have a more good-natured guy, and Dan Biss is lucky that he is such a good-natured guy when you hear this story.
I can't wait to hear it.
But the idea, I mean, Ted Dabrowski writes at WirePoints.com, talks about on panels, pension reform, taxes. I mean, this is not a partisan guy. This is a policy wonk.
Yeah.
But this is how he gets treated by his duly elected state senator on the enlightened, civilized, forward-looking, educated North Shore. Ted Dabrowski, WirePoints.com president. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, guys.
So, Ted, tell us what happened when you went to get a bowl of soup.
Well, so there I was in line, just waiting for whatever I ordered, and I see Dan Biss and a lady colleague of his, and it looked like they were about to walk out when he sees me from afar and says, "Is that Ted Dabrowski? Is that Ted Dabrowski?" So he walks over to me, and I'm interested in what this encounter is going to look like. We've sparred over the past, over policy, and I didn't expect any niceties, let's put it that way. Anyway, I put my hand out, we shook hands, and he immediately turns to his colleague and says, "Do you know this guy? Do you know this guy? Seriously?" And I'm waiting to see where this is going. He goes, "He's a horrible person." He never looked at me. He was looking at her. "He's a horrible person." And, she was shaking her head that she didn't know who I was. And I'm waiting for this thing to turn into a normal conversation when he just finally says to her, "We're going to destroy them." And he says it again. And then he turns around and just walks away. And she sheepishly didn't know what to do, so she followed him. And I was like, wow, it wasn't a big deal, right? He didn't assault me. He didn't cuss at me. But what I found amazing was that this guy was arrogant enough to come into a public spot, I don't know if he's trying to insult me, intimidate me, bully me. I have no idea. I've got pretty thick skin, so it doesn't really matter. But, he thinks he can walk to somebody, do that, and walk away and get away with it. And that's I think the bigger story about this is what our Illinois politicians think they can do. They think they can do anything they want and get away with it. And that's wrong.
Well, did his female companion or whoever he was there with, did she say anything to you, or did she just look shell-shocked?
Oh, yeah, she was baffled. She couldn't tell what was going on, and neither could I, because I thought we were going to have some kind of normal conversation. It never turned to that, and so she just finally figured out that she had to kind of walk away because she didn't know what to do.
I thought you were going to say you were so offended because she didn't know who you were. And so
Yeah, well,
that
that's true.
you turned on her. Did anybody else overhear this, excoriation?
Well, to be fair, it wasn't like crowded at the time, and I myself didn't really look around. I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on, and what my mind went to is I'm not going to let him do this and just get away with it because that's what he wants, and I think it's kind of the same thing as Rahm Emanuel with his $10 billion pension bond. These guys want to do whatever the hell they want, and they don't want to be challenged, and they don't want anybody to get in their way. And guys like us at Wire Points are calling them out for it, and we're going to continue to do it, and they don't like it.
Well, I think that what's interesting too, it's instructive, is what he said to you, which is number one, you're a terrible person because you disagree with him on pension borrowing, for goodness'
And probably
sakes.
health care reform.
And number two, that they're out to destroy you and your ilk.
Well, yeah, they've got a narrative, and their narrative is a bigger government that taxes more, that protects pensions, the pension system the way it is, that they want a progressive tax increase. And oftentimes, and Dan knows it because I've disagreed with him on policy all the time, I oppose all those things. I want a government that's affordable for the people. I want state workers to control their own retirements, not to be having Madigan's hands and Rounder's hands and Rahm Emanuel's hands in their retirements. And they don't like us challenging their narratives, and so they want to destroy what we say.
Do you think
and
he
they're
was
bold enough to do that?
Well, but do you think it's more than destroy what you say? Because that's not what he said. I want to destroy your policy position. We're going to destroy you and your ilk. That's a different thing.
Well, no, and you're absolutely right. It's these guys are angry. They want their way, and we've seen it all the time. And I think Rahm Emanuel is a perfect example of that. They don't want people to challenge them, and they want those people out of their way. And this is, Dan Biss, who wanted to be the representative of the people, right? He wanted to be governor.
Right.
And I just find it fascinating that these guys have the audacity to do that kind of stuff.
Do you think Maxine Waters' call to action, so to speak, if you see your Republican enemy go up and say something to them, do you think she inspired him to do this?
Well, I was conflicted, tying Biss to Maxine Waters because, I don't want to do that stuff, but I can't help but think that these people are emboldened by those kind of statements, right? When Maxine Waters tells people to go bully people, a guy like Dan Biss might get inspired. Or maybe he's angry that he didn't win. Maybe, he's I don't know. Maybe,
when was the last time you saw him? Were you guys on a panel together?
It's been a while since we've been in a panel together, but
okay.
You must remember it vividly.
Yeah, what did you do?
So what about like friends and neighbors on the cobblestone-lined streets of Wilmette? There, Ted. Does this go over well with them? They happy with their choice? What's your sense of the political culture and what will be tolerated in one of the wealthiest and putatively most educated areas of the state?
Well, it's hard right now. I'd say so many people are conflicted in Illinois, and we know that, right? We've lost 1.3 million people on a net basis since 2000 to other states. And they're going to catch up with Dan Biss's policies at some point. Right now, they may like him, his smoothness and all that. They like, but when push comes to shove, it's his group of senators and representatives that have brought the state to where it is. And at some point, nobody's stupid, right? Everybody gets smart at some point, and they're going to see what's happening to the state, and they're not going to like his policies.
Boy, I'll tell you what, if they think Dan Biss is smooth, then they really are lost. Then it really is over.
And they do. That's what's amazing.
Has he responded to your article or to any of your tweets or anything?
He has not, and it'll be interesting to see if he does. But my response to him, and rather than getting to name calling him, I'd love to debate him because I don't think that he has merits for the things that he supports. I'd love to have a one-on-one debate with him or any group debate. Yeah. And let's talk about the issues because that's what people deserve. Not name calling, not bullying, not his form of whatever the hell you call that, whatever he's doing.
All right, well, grow eyes in the back of your head next time you go into the local Panera, though. Look out for Biss hiding behind a ficus. Ted Dabrowski, president of WirePoints.com. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And one other note on this, just in Illinois, connect to the politics. Our friend Scott Bertram from Hillsdale College, he used to be on WROK in Rockford. He tweeted out a picture yesterday Winnebago County GOP headquarters in Rockford vandalized, and it's spray painting the word rape all over the building and
it's pretty bad.
the glass door with all the Republican candidate signs in the windows there, just rape in different colors all over. All over the building and the door.
Surprised they haven't gotten caught yet.
You
Or weren't caught in the act, the time that it took to do all that, the vandalism, the spray painting.
But we love Dan Biss in this state, right?
Dan Biss.
We love vandals in Rockford in this state, right?
I wonder who he was with. Does his wife know he was with somebody?
We love the left in this state, right?